7 Stoic Habits to Awaken. Your inner strength in just 3 days. Most people believe that personal transformation requires something drastic, a new year, a new job, a major shift in external circumstances. But what if everything you need is already within reach? What if real change doesn't begin outside but inside, through small, conscious actions repeated with intention? Stoic philosophy teaches us that inner strength isn't born in chaos or applause, but in the quiet moments of our daily habits, in how we wake up, in how we breathe, in what we choose to focus on, in the courage to release what no longer serves us, in the wisdom to honor the present moment, in the art of truly listening, and in the honesty to reflect on ourselves at the end of the day. This video isn't about distant theories. It's an invitation, a practical and transformative plan. Over the next 3 days, you'll be guided through 7 habits that act like powerful tools of inner architecture. Each one is designed to strengthen your mind, bring clarity to your choices, and align your life with what truly matters. No grand gestures, just small keys, but keys that unlock powerful doors. And when those doors open, a new reality begins to take shape. Not outside, but within you. Habit 1. Find your center. Before the world wakes up. There's a sacred moment at the beginning of each day. A brief silence before the world demands your attention, before notifications start buzzing, before your mind is pulled in a dozen different directions. In that small window of stillness, you have a powerful opportunity to reclaim your mind before the world claims it for you. The Stoics understood the value of the early morning hours as a space to align the mind before engaging with the chaos of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journals each morning to prepare himself mentally for the day ahead. He knew that if he didn't guide his own thoughts, they would be hijacked by whatever the world threw at him. Today, the same truth applies. If you don't anchor yourself internally, the external world will decide how you feel and who you become. This habit invites you to create a simple but transformative ritual. Before anything else, before email, news, or social media, sit in silence. No distractions, just you with yourself. Maybe it's a few minutes of meditation. Maybe it's a quiet cup of coffee, a page from a Stoic text, a journal entry. The format is up to you. What matters is the symbolic act, choosing to begin your day by turning inward rather than outward. This moment of silence becomes the seed of your inner calm. It's where you organize your thoughts before they get scrambled by the demands of others. It's how you establish your emotional tone before the day does it for you. Done consistently, this small ritual becomes a foundation. It strengthens your ability to respond instead of react, to discern rather than absorb, to stay whole even when the world feels fractured. In a society that glorifies urgency and distraction, starting your day with intention is an act of quiet rebellion. It says, "My peace is not up for negotiation. My attention is not a free-for-all. I choose to live from the inside out." You don't need hours to do this, just 10 minutes. But 10 intentional minutes have the power to shape the next 14 hours. It's like aligning the rudder before setting sail. Even if the sea gets rough, you'll know which way you're going. If you want to awaken your inner strength, start by awakening yourself before the world tries to wake you up in the wrong direction. Habit 2. Anchor yourself in the present through breath. In the middle of chaos, stress, and mental overload, there's a silent force that's always available to bring you back to center, your breath. It may seem too simple to be powerful, and that's exactly why we overlook it. But the breath is more than a biological function. It's a personal anchor. A tool of return, a bridge back to the only place where life truly happens, the present moment. Epictetus reminded us that we're not disturbed by events themselves, but by how we interpret them. And it's precisely through breath that we create the space between stimulus and response. When you breathe with awareness, you pause, and in that pause lives your freedom, the power to choose how you respond instead of being swept away by the automatic reaction. Every deep breath is like throwing down an anchor in the middle of a storm. Anxiety lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. But your power, your calm, your clarity lives in the now. The problem is that we rarely stay there. Our minds wander, our nervous systems remain on high alert, and without realizing it, our breath becomes shallow and erratic, echoing the inner tension we carry without pause. This habit calls you to return to your breath. Especially in moments of stress or overstimulation, take a pause and breathe deeply. Inhale slowly through your nose, filling your lungs with intention. Hold for a moment, then exhale fully through your mouth, releasing the tension with awareness. Do this 3 times. Repeat as needed. It may sound like a small act, but it speaks volumes to your body and mind. It says, I am safe, I am here, I am in control. The Stoics were not passive observers of life. They were masters of the self. And the breath is one of the most accessible instruments of that mastery. It affects your heart rate, your nervous system, your clarity of thought. To breathe well is to think better, feel more grounded, and act with greater wisdom. You can't control traffic. You can't control what others say. You can't undo the past or predict the future, but you can control how you breathe. And sometimes, that one choice is enough to shift everything. Because when you control your breath, you regulate your state. And when you regulate your state, you reclaim your power. Your breath is your baseline, your starting point, your inner compass. The one place you can always return to when everything else feels unstable. And the more often you return to it, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, even in the midst of noise, pressure, or chaos, you'll remember, breathe first, then act. Habit 3, contemplate the richness of the now. We live in a world that constantly pushes us toward the next thing, the next goal, the next version of ourselves, the next big achievement. The message is loud and persistent. What you have is never enough. Who you are is never enough. But the Stoics teach a radically different truth. The present moment holds more richness than we allow ourselves to see. And when we learn to notice it, we begin to understand that we've been standing in abundance all along. We just weren't paying attention. The human mind has a bias toward lack. It's always scanning for what's missing, what's broken, what could be better. And that constant scanning blinds us to what is already whole. To the glass of cold water on a hot day, to the shelter over your head, to the voice of someone you love, to the warmth of sunlight through the window. These small moments are not background noise, they are life itself. To contemplate the richness of the now is to reclaim your ability to see. To shift your attention from what's absent to what's present, from what's imperfect to what's quietly beautiful. It doesn't mean giving up ambition or denying hardship. It means practicing appreciation as an act of clarity, realizing that joy isn't always something you chase, but something you notice. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Gratitude, then, is not a sentimental ritual. It's a form of mental discipline. It's how you train your perception to focus on what strengthens you instead of what drains you. This habit is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about recognizing that even when things are hard, moments of beauty still exist, and you can choose to see them. Try this. At some point in your day, pause and ask, what is good right now? Not what could be good tomorrow. Not what used to be good in the past. Right now. Maybe it's a quiet moment, a kind word, the way your body feels after a deep breath, the simplicity of being alive. When you notice it, name it. Let yourself feel the weight of that awareness. Let it interrupt the default mode of constant striving. Stoicism doesn't teach us to escape reality. It teaches us to see it more clearly. And when you see clearly, you stop outsourcing your happiness to the future. You begin to realize that peace is not waiting at the finish line. It's already here. In the quiet. In the ordinary. In the moment that's unfolding in front of you. Looking at the now with reverence is like switching on a light in a dim room. Suddenly, everything has color, texture, meaning, and you realize maybe nothing was missing. You just hadn't looked closely enough. Habit 4. Travel light through life, the art of letting go. Life is a journey. And like any journey, the way you travel matters. Sometimes what holds us back isn't the road ahead, it's the weight we insist on carrying. emotional baggage, lingering resentments, outdated obligations, unresolved guilt. The Stoics knew that freedom doesn't come from what you accumulate, but from what you're willing to release. And learning to let go isn't weakness, it's strength. A quiet, liberating kind of strength that makes your steps lighter and your path clearer. Epictetus reminds us, some things are up to us, and some are not. That sentence, simple on the surface, holds enormous power. It teaches discernment. It teaches boundaries. It teaches you to stop clinging to what's outside of your control. The art of letting go begins there, with the courage to release what's weighing you down, even when it feels familiar, even when a part of you still wants to hold on. Letting go is not about pretending you don't care. It's about choosing peace over attachment. It's choosing clarity over clutter, both mental and emotional. Sometimes what you're holding on to is a version of yourself that no longer exists, a relationship that has run its course, a belief that once protected you but now limits you. And by keeping it close, you're not preserving it. You're imprisoning yourself. This habit invites you to pause and take inventory. Ask yourself, what am I still carrying that no longer serves me? Which thoughts, commitments, or emotional patterns feel more draining than meaningful? Write them down. See them clearly. And then, even if it takes time, begin the process of releasing them. It might be a conversation you've been avoiding, a grudge you've been feeding, a to-do list full of obligations that no longer align with who you are. Letting go doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be quiet, private, but it is always intentional. And with every release, you reclaim space for healing, for clarity, for what truly matters. In Stoic practice, this detachment is not indifference. It's discipline. It's the decision to stop being owned by your past, to stop over-identifying with things that are temporary. Because the truth is, everything you cling to eventually leaves, by change, by time, or by force. Letting go on your own terms is a form of wisdom. It's how you make peace with impermanence. Traveling light doesn't mean walking away from everything. It means carrying only what's essential, your values, your character, your presence. It means having the strength to say, this no longer belongs on my journey, and the humility to let it go with gratitude instead of resistance. When you do that, something shifts, not just around you, but within you. The path opens, the fog lifts, and the weight that once held you back becomes the wisdom that guides you forward. Habit 5. Give every step a direction. The power of daily intention. A life without direction is like a ship without a rudder. It may move, but it drifts, pulled by currents it didn't choose, headed toward destinations it didn't plan. Without direction, even meaningful tasks feel like burdens. Decisions become scattered. Emotions take the wheel. And slowly, you begin to lose sight of what actually matters. That's why the Stoics emphasized something simple but powerful: intention. Not as a lofty ideal, but as a compass you can return to every single day. Seneca wrote, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Without knowing where you want to go, every distraction feels urgent, every request feels important. But when you start your day with clarity, even a little, something shifts. Your actions become aligned, your attention becomes more focused. You move with a quiet kind of power, guided by something deeper than impulse or habit. This habit is about beginning each day with a simple question. What do I want to embody today? It's not about setting a strict goal or overwhelming yourself with pressure. It's about choosing a direction, one that reflects your values, your priorities, your deeper purpose. Maybe today it's patience, or courage, or truthfulness, or presence. You decide. And once you do, that intention becomes your inner compass. With a daily intention, even the most ordinary tasks take on new meaning. Making breakfast becomes an act of care. A difficult conversation becomes an opportunity to practice honesty. A long day of work becomes a chance to serve with integrity. Life stops feeling like a collection of random events and starts to feel like a journey that you're actively shaping. This isn't about perfection. You will forget your intention. You'll get distracted. You'll lose your center. That's okay. What matters is returning to it, gently, without judgment. Let it anchor you throughout the day. Let it remind you of who you are and who you're becoming. The Stoics believe that virtue is the highest good, and intention is how you begin to live in alignment with it. It turns reaction into reflection, movement into meaning. It teaches you to act, not just to respond, to create, not just to consume. And in a world that's constantly pulling your attention in 100 directions, that's a kind of power most people never access. So tomorrow, before your day begins, pause, breathe, ask yourself what matters most today. Then carry that answer with you, not as a weight, but as a light. Let it shape how you show up, how you speak, how you decide. One step at a time. Because when each step has a direction, you don't just move, you grow. And that's how you start turning your days into a life worth living. Habit 6. Listen to connect, not to reply. Most people don't listen to understand, they listen to reply. While someone is speaking, we're already crafting our response, defending our position, preparing our comeback. But true listening, the kind that builds trust, understanding, and connection, is rare, and it's powerful. The Stoics knew this. They understood that mastering yourself includes mastering your ability to truly hear another person. Not just their words, but their meaning, their emotion, their presence. Epictetus, who spent much of his life teaching others how to live with wisdom and integrity, advised listening far more than speaking. To him, listening wasn't passive, it was active presence. It required humility, curiosity, and the discipline to pause your own internal monologue so you could receive what someone else was actually saying. That kind of listening is a form of respect. It says, "You matter. I'm here with you." Not just waiting for my turn, but truly hearing you. This habit invites you to shift your purpose in conversation, from trying to be heard to seeking to understand, from focusing on what you'll say next to focusing on what's being shared right now. This change may seem subtle, but it transforms the entire quality of your relationships. Because when you listen with your full attention, you create space for truth. You invite others to feel seen. You build bridges instead of walls. Think about it. How often do you feel truly listened to? And how often do you offer that gift to others? In a world full of noise, distractions, and surface-level dialogue, deep listening has become a rare form of care. It's not about agreeing with everything you hear. It's about being present enough to understand where someone is coming from, even if you disagree. To practice this habit, start small. In your next conversation, try to listen without interrupting. Notice when your mind tries to jump ahead. Bring it back. Pay attention not only to the words, but to the emotion beneath them, the silence between them, the body language. Let the person finish before you respond. And when you do respond, make your words reflect that you were truly listening. The Stoics believed in justice, not just in courts or politics, but in how we treat each other in everyday life. And listening deeply is one of the purest forms of justice. It requires you to step outside your ego, to quiet your need to be right or impressive, and to simply be there, open, grounded, attentive. In doing so, you become someone others trust, someone who doesn't just speak with wisdom, but also listens with it. And slowly, conversation by conversation, you begin to create deeper, more authentic connections. Ones that don't rely on performance, but on presence. Because in the end, listening isn't just about others. It changes you too. It expands your empathy, sharpens your awareness, deepens your understanding of the human experience. In a world full of talkers, be the one who listens, and you'll be surprised how much more clearly you hear yourself as well. Habit 7. The evening dialogue with your own conscience. There's a moment at the end of the day when the noise fades, the world quiets, and you're left alone with yourself. In that silence, you meet someone you often overlook, your own conscience. The Stoics understood the sacredness of this encounter. Marcus Aurelius wrote reflections in his journal each night to examine his actions. Seneca encouraged reviewing the day not as a ritual of shame, but as a practice of wisdom. For them, introspection wasn't weakness, it was strength. It was how a person refined their character, one honest review at a time. The evening dialogue with your conscience is a conversation. Gentle, honest, unfiltered. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about illuminating your path. It's asking, where did I act with clarity today? Where did I fall into impulse or ego? What can I carry forward into tomorrow with greater awareness? These aren't questions meant to produce perfect answers. They're meant to cultivate presence, and presence is what leads to transformation. This habit invites you to take a few moments each night for self-inquiry. You don't need hours, just a few minutes of stillness. You can sit in silence. You can write. You can simply reflect. What matters is creating space to hear yourself, to look back on the day not just as something that happened, but as something that taught you, something that revealed your tendencies, your patterns, your progress. The more consistently you do this, the more you begin to notice things that once went unseen. A subtle moment where you stayed calm, a conversation where you rushed to defend yourself, a task you avoided, a gesture of kindness you gave without expecting anything back. Introspection doesn't just expose your flaws, it reminds you of your growth, your efforts, your silent victories. It's not about perfection, it's about awareness. The Stoics believed that the examined life is the only life worth living. And to examine doesn't mean to obsess, it means to observe with clarity and compassion. To look at yourself not through the lens of judgment, but through the lens of truth. When you do this, you stop drifting through your days. You start shaping them. You start becoming someone you actually respect. This final habit is both mirror and compass. A mirror to see yourself clearly. A compass to redirect what needs realignment. And over time, it becomes a sacred space, not to punish your past, but to prepare your future. So tonight, before you close your eyes, open that space. Ask the questions. Listen for the answers, even if they come in whispers. Because with each evening dialogue, you write the next line in the story of who you're becoming, and the person you meet in that stillness. That's the one who holds the keys to your transformation. You've just received 7 habits not as rules, but as tools. Not as pressure, but as possibility. Each one invites you to build something that no one else can build for you. The architecture of your inner strength. No grand gestures. No need for perfection. Just small, intentional acts repeated day after day. That's where transformation lives. This isn't about becoming flawless. It's about becoming aware. About waking up each morning with purpose. About choosing, again and again, to return to your center. To breathe. To let go. To listen. To reflect. To live with direction. The Stoics never promised an easy life, but they showed us that a meaningful life is possible. Even in the face of chaos, especially in the face of chaos. Because strength isn't about how much you can control out there. It's about how deeply rooted you are in here, in your character, in your values, in your ability to show up with calm in a noisy world. Your transformation doesn't begin with a breakthrough. It begins with a choice. And that choice is always available. Today, tomorrow. Every single time you decide to pause instead of react, to breathe instead of rush, to reflect instead of escape, you are building that inner architecture. Start with the next 3 days, 1 habit per day. Don't worry about doing it perfectly, just begin. Because when you change the way you live your day, you change the direction of your life. Your journey starts now, and the next step is yours. If this message resonated with you, stay close. The upcoming videos will take you even deeper into this Stoic path of emotional mastery, resilience, and inner freedom. We're just getting started. If this video spoke to you, if even one of these habits stirred something inside, hit the like button, share it with someone who's also building their inner strength, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep walking this path together. Tap the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next, because every video here is another key to your transformation. And let me know in the comments, which of these habits resonated with you the most? I read everything, and I'll reply whenever I can. Let's grow together.